looking at your thing, but that's okay.
I don't know how I moved it though. That's the thing. Good morning. This has been a bit stressful this morning. I've been trying to get to my live with Tony bar on my Facebook, and I've just spent the last half hour trying to figure out what happened. And I finally just said, you know what? Maybe I moved my whole screen down and it cut off the live video feed. And by accident, I pushed it back up. I have no idea what technology does sometimes, but I made a small adjustment, and here we are. So let me get to today's topic. But this was a bit stressful, and I was determined to do my live with Tony because I thought there were some really great things that I wanted to share with you today, as always. Tiny tweaks, tiny tweaks may make a big difference in having a longer life. Take a few more steps and you can slow down your progression of Alzheimer's and memory loss. So here I'm reading from the January 24th issue of New Scientist magazine. Just around 5 extra minutes of sleep per day, 2 more minutes of moderate exercise, a brisk walk, taking a flight of stairs, and an extra half serving of vegetables is linked to an additional 1 year longer lifespan. Let's go over that again. I mean, who wouldn't want to do this? This is the thing today, and I guess the biggest challenge I see with people is, what do you believe? And so, whether you believe the result of this or not in the short term, what's the big deal? Getting 5 extra minutes of sleep. So I don't know, can you go to bed 5 minutes sooner and get yourself tuned to that extra 5 minutes of sleep? How about 2 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise? Just 2 minutes. And I say moderate, you go up and down a flight of steps, take a brisk walk, with an extra half serving of vegetables is linked to an additional 1 year longer lifespan. So I just wanted to repeat that because this is so significant. It is no surprise that getting enough of sleep, exercising, and eating well are crucial to long-term life expectancy and also long-term mental fitness. But it was unknown how very small lifestyle changes can affect our lifespan and health span, which is the number of years spent in good health. Mental health, obviously, a crucial part of that, and we've been talking about that now for over years. To fill in the gap, they analyzed sleep, dietary, and physical activity data from 60,000. You think that's a sample size that's big enough? 60,000 people. They were asked to recall how often they ate various types of food, such as fresh fruit, processed meats, over the past year, while their diets are being ranked from poor to healthy. Years later, they were tracked on their wrists for a week to measure their exercise and sleeping habits. So this is what the study was all about. This is amazing. This study was done for 8 years. This is a significant study. Pay attention to these results. Using these measurements, they pinpointed the bottom 5% of participants with the least healthy lifestyles slept for around 5 hours each day and engaged in about 5 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity and scored about 35 on the dietary scale. The researchers then used a statistical model to estimate, compared with these least healthy people, those with the least, to those who slept for about 5 minutes more each day, engaged in exercise for about 2 minutes, and ate the equivalent of an extra half portion of vegetables. So there's your benchmark and what's going on. The combination of small lifestyle changes had the same effect as making larger shifts in only one aspect of lifestyle. For instance, sleeping for 25 minutes longer without altering exercise or diet. When we package lifestyle changes together, we get more bang for our buck and we reduce the overall requirement from any one behavior. The findings support a second study published a week later, which analyzed mortality and exercise data from 40,000 people. And what they discovered was that they fed the data into a statistical model and predicted that if the vast majority of the population engaged in an extra 5 minutes of moderate to vigorous exercise each day, 5 minutes of moderate to, about 10% of deaths could be prevented. The studies have some limitations, and for instance, and what have you. I always worry about these studies and their limitations, but you know what? What's wrong with taking an extra 5 minutes of sleep, a few extra minutes to exercise every day, and eating the proper nutritional foods? But now, in this same page, here's the thing that really drives me crazy. Eating meat could help people reach 100 years old. Crazy. Your diet can affect your longevity. And a study in China has revealed that most centenarians that live in China now eat meat, which may be helpful for those who are underweight. A meat-rich diet has been linked to obesity, but research supports that the proteins for building stronger muscles and bones are helpful to people who are underweight. So now I don't know, does that mean if you're underweight, eat meat? As I've said over and over again, some of these studies will drive you crazy. Now, what's the takeaway from all this? Well, we know that sleep is a benefit to us. There's enough of articles. I've been reading them to you, over and over again. Strategies, for sleep. Stop the sleep thief. How to improve your sleeping habits. So we know that sleep has a major impact on the clearing out of neurotoxins in the brain, and it helps you with mental cognitive fitness, which is what I have been focused on. This particular article in New Scientist really focuses on, my goodness, it'll help you live longer, which is all what you don't want to live longer if you don't have the right mental state. Number two, there's nothing wrong with getting in some exercise. I mean, we're finding more and more about the exercise from cardio and what it does for your heart, but also the importance of the flow of oxygen to your brain and how that also helps with the activities that are in your neuronal systems and therefore improves your mental cognitive fitness. So what's wrong with doing some exercise? And then what people don't stop to think about is the food that we eat, that we put in the air, goes through the body's processing system, and portions of that are being dropped into your brain. And the differences between fats and proteins and the neurochemicals that help us to be more alert, carbohydrates versus proteins, and when you should be eating, what you should be eating, all have impacts on our mental, physical fitness. So we're learning so much about the health of the human body, and we continue to take the pieces, right? Like you got a neck problem, I go to see one doctor. You got a back problem, you go see another one. You got a knee problem, you got a third doctor. You go to. Whereas in the physical fitness and the mental fitness on a cognitive level are connected to other things like exercise, like your nutritional habits, like your level, dealing with your levels of stress, like what mental exercises can you do as well. And so what we're learning more and more through the neuroscience world is our body is a whole system, and we just can't keep chopping it apart. Well, let me slice this part up here and look at that. This is getting all of the elements, and if there's one thing that proves that the human body is a holistic piece, yes, seems silly, but it is the processing of things through our brain is like the central processing unit, and it runs through the whole body and depends on the exercise we do and the stress levels we have and the nutritional habits we have and the rest and the recovery periods we have. And that to me is exciting as long as you know what those elements are and how you might be able to make some adjustments. So I found this article very interesting in New Scientist, where we could make just some small benefits and add a year's worth of life expectancy to ourselves. And I think that's a worthwhile investment to make. And with that, it's another Friday. I cannot believe this is already February 13th, and tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and it's time to go out and find the love of your life and enjoy the weekend. Super Bowl's done, so football's gone, basketball's in full swing, baseball's starting to talk about spring training, and hopefully there's something that you'll find over the weekend that you get out and enjoy in your own personal life. We'll see you back here next week.